There was an orthopedic doctor named Dr. Henderson who was in need of a replacement skeleton in his office. So a woman named Nora Bone delivered a new plastic skeleton to the doctor's office. And as she waited at the main desk, Nora was aware that the waiting room full of patients was staring at her. So she smiled and said, I'm bringing him to the doctor. And an older lady said sympathetically, "My dear, isn't it a bit late for the doctor?" Okay, it's Halloween humor. It was the best I could do this morning. Oh, happy almost Halloween, everyone. So here we are, and we are knee-deep in Living Originally, 10 Spiritual Practices to Transform Your Life. And our book study on Wednesday nights, thank you for those of you that have been attending. And the book study on Sunday mornings, thank you for those of you that have been attending with the Sundermans. And also, please, I hope, again, I always want to presence, if it is not yours to do to come to a book study, the reflection questions are at the back table, and please feel free to follow along with us just as you feel moved. We'd love to have you join us. So last week, I want to review, because this tends to be one of the heavier topics on our life journey. What we talked about last week was, as a practice, was unlimited forgiveness and universal benevolence. Forgiveness. That tends to be the booger sometimes, doesn't it? And Robert Brummett talks about just how valuable it is for us to forgive whatever we have decided that has hurt us. You know, it's a choice that we make, and I know that can also be a rub. But it is a choice that we make, and that for us to hold on to unforgiveness, it just kills our spirit and also our physical body. And so he gives us 2 phases to work with that energy. And so the first phase of unforgiveness is simply to make the awareness that we're in an unforgiving place and make a choice to forgive. So it's awareness and choice. And the second phase is the process. And forgiveness, I think we can all, if we look at our lives and we look at those places where we've taken on forgiving, that it's a process. It typically doesn't happen in an instant. I think it can. All things are possible. But typically for most of us, forgiveness is a process. And the booger about it, I think, is that we get to feel. We get to feel what it is that's hurt us. And we think, well, oh my gosh, I don't want to go through that again. The tricky part is we're going through it anyway. Because if we're bearing it, it's coming up and it's expressing in our life in ways that we might be very unconscious about. And so he encourages us to get support, community, to work through whatever it is in our life that we've been holding on to so that we can be free. So that we can truly experience and know what it's like to give benevolence, which means appreciation, kindness, and gratitude. Well, gratitude and appreciation, kindness and appreciation, and generosity. And generosity. So how you doing? How you doing with it all? Okay, I'm looking at your faces. Like, well, the opportunity that we had last week was to look at where we are holding on to unforgiveness and also to bring to mind people in our life that we really appreciate and to really express our appreciation to them whether they're on this planet or not. So hopefully you are able to do that and experience the joy of that. All right, so this week we are looking at 2 more practices. The practice of compassionate communication and the practice of allowing things in our life to teach us. So everything is our teacher. So let's kind of delve into compassionate communication. Because, see, the really cool thing is that every new practice builds on the other. So in order for us to be able to communicate compassionately, which means, from kindness and authentic caring, we get to be, if we're holding on to unforgiveness, it's pretty tough for us to be compassionate in our communication, isn't it? It's pretty tough for us to be in that place of generosity, of spirit, appreciation, and kindness. So he just talks about that. And what he talks about that is fundamental in our ability to compassionately communicate is our ability to listen. Okay, so you don't have to raise your hand or anything, but how many of us, when we ask somebody how they're doing, we really hope they don't tell us? Because that's going to mean that I'm going to have to stand here for however X amount of minutes and really listen to how you're really doing. So he wakes us up about how we kind of pretend to be listening. When we're really in our intellect, we're just trying to, often what we'll do is we'll listen and we want to complete the sentence. I know where this is going. Let me just get there for them. Yeah. And so he talks about how beautiful it is when we're able to truly be across from someone and have our hearts open and be really, truly interested in what they have to say. Yeah. And how connecting it is, and how relationship deepening it is. And then he takes it a step further, that when we truly are in that space of, oneness, like there's no separation here, it's almost like have you been in communication with someone where it's like you just don't need words? You just feel it. You just know it. It's that beautiful just, I am you and you are me. And that's what's possible from compassionately communicating. And the foundation of all of it, which Robert Brumman is, he might be a unity minister, but he's very much a practicing Buddhist, is right speech. The practice of right speech, which has 3 questions. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? So is it true? So in order to have authentic communication, we get to move away from things that we might not know are true, which comes to mind for me is gossip. Because gossip is grounded in speculation, it's triangling. And so to move away from that kind of communication and to speak from what is true, not from our interpretations or our speculations, but to speak from what's true and to release our need to be right is what he encourages us to do under this, answering this question, is it true? Is it true? Is it kind? What's our intention as we speak? Is it meant to be, again, right, righteous, defensive? And folks, there is no greater hotbed of transformation right now than the political arena. Right now, folks, I think it's no accident that we're covering this right now. Because man, can we be, I know what's true. Let me tell you one thing. Yeah. And can we be kind when someone's standing across from us who is voting differently than us? Truly, folks. Yeah. And is it necessary? Which I thought was really interesting, to really look at, is my speech necessary? And he used this example of, say you go to a party, and how do you interact with people? Do you feel compelled to speak? To notice yourself? Because you know how sometimes when we're, uncomfortable, we just want to talk to fill the space? Yeah. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with that practice. It's just an opportunity for us to notice. What's our point in speaking? What's our point? So, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And are we listening? Those are the major components of compassionate communication. And so, the next practice is everything is our teacher. Woohoo. You know that there's a little phrase that's just one more growth opportunity. You heard that? That everything is a growth opportunity. And I tell you, to me, I want to take it just a little bit deeper. What if every single thing is for us? So if everything is our teacher, can we translate that to mean everything is for us, even the icky stuff? Because I am willing to wager that if you take a moment to reflect on your life, even the icky stuff, that you can see how you have grown because of it. You can see that by you navigating through a difficult situation in your life, how you have been able to possibly support another person because of the wisdom that you've gleaned, because of the way that you have been expanded in your knowing of the truth of what you are and what's possible for yourself and others. But first, in order for us to let life teach us, we get to be empty. And there's a story that I would like to share with you that Robert Brummett shares. There was a Japanese Zen master visited with a very intelligent university professor who came to see him to learn about Zen. And after introducing himself, the professor proceeded to tell the Zen master everything he knew about Asian religion, history, and culture, etc., and expressed how learning Zen would greatly add to his repertoire of knowledge. And the Zen master served the professor some tea. He filled the professor's teacup to overflowing and kept pouring. The professor shouted, "Stop, stop, the cup is already too full." And the Zen master responded, "Like this cup, you too are too full of what you think you know. I cannot show you Zen unless you first empty your cup." So we too must see how full our cup is and to be willing to let go of what we think we know to make room for what's possible. We must have humility and a deep willingness to learn. And Jesus in Matthew said these words, "Unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." See, we always have the choice to choose whether our experience of life is heaven or hell. And so his point is, in order for us to see how it can be heaven, even though it might be feeling like hell, we must be open and have humility and a willingness to learn, teachability, in order to see the blessing, in order to allow the blessing. And this calls us to let go, to open, to let go of resistance, and the way possibly we might want things to be. Yeah. So just again, we choose what teaches us, folks. We do. We choose to allow life to expand us as we practice forgiveness and benevolence, compassionate communication, appreciation, generosity. We choose it. What are we choosing? Let's choose to allow life to teach us. So this week, let's pay attention together. Let's do this together. Let's notice our communication. Let's notice if we're really listening. Let's notice if we have an open heart and we're really being kind. Is it true what we're saying? Is it kind and is it necessary? Let's check in this week. And let's work with allowing life to teach us. Let's look at where we can be expanded. So, are we willing? All right. Let's affirm together. I choose to allow every life experience to deepen and expand my knowing of what I am. Yes, I do.